in the annals of 1980s films, there are bad movies, and then there are historically bad movies. And the list, it's pretty long. You got stuff like Can't Stop the Music, which started in the 80s. The immortal Village People musical starring Bruce Jenner in his only major leading acting role. Kind of ominous there. Going all the way up till the late 1980s, we had stuff like Wired, the John Belushi documentary that had a ghost in it for some reason, and all sorts of really great box office disasters along the way. Howard the Duck and Ishtar and all those great pieces of garbage. Well, today I want to talk to you about a film that I am embarrassed to say I finally saw it as a 30-year-old. Like, this movie somehow managed to escape me for how many years? It's the He-Man movie. The film by Canon called Masters of the Universe, starring Ivan Drago as He-Man and Frank Langella, or is it Langella? Well, I'm just calling him Langella. It sounds better. It sounds more ominous. As Skeletor. And that's pretty much it as far as the actual representations of the cartoon toy line. Because everything else, they just made up. And this is an interesting film because, nowadays we're living in the era of the major adult movie. And I think Deadpool was kind of the turning point. I haven't seen it. I'll see it, I'll give you my review. But just from my general observations, here's what I think is happening. I think the success of that film is probably going to pave the way for more R-rated, cartoon-ish superhero films. Certainly more tongue-in-cheek, more violent, more stuff like The Watchmen as opposed to stuff like, Fantastic Four. I mean, you already live in a nation of Game of Thrones and Outlander and all that stuff. So I think it's only a matter of time before we start getting more abrasive, aggressive, sexual, comic book style movies. And fantasy, superhero, nostalgia, whatever. And obviously, this is a film that came out 1985, 86, 87, something like that. So it's way before, even the first Batman movie, starring Michael Keaton. So, it could have been a ghost you just saw right there. Go back and watch the video. But anyway, yeah, just going back to it, I'm just going off for a tangent. I'm sorry, I'm sleepy. But yeah, obviously, Master of the Universe came before the first Batman movie, before the huge superhero boom of the late 80s. Certainly before the big Marvel DC event film boom of the 2000s. And late 2000s at that. So what this film is before Transformers, before G.I. Joe, before all the other toy properties became films. And it's a pretty big budget for the time. It was like 20-30 million. So I mean, it had the money behind it. Now here's the thing, I remember watching the cartoon when I was a kid. I had some of the toys, one of my favorite toys was there's this one guy who had a fishbowl head. I can't remember his name, but I loved playing with him. I always wanted a Moss Man too. The guy who's all fuzzy. I just want to just throw him and stuff. Just see what happens. Just put him in the tub. But I was never a huge fan. I mean, it doesn't have that really profound childhood retro aspect to it. So I mean, I'm aware of the property. I have certain recollections of what it was, but I don't really hold it in any major high esteem or anything like that. So the film itself, but I do recall the finer points. I have the general storyline down. All right. So anyway, Masters of the Universe, late 1980s. This film is disaster in every way. I mean, it's one of those things where I have a real high tolerance for terrible movies, and I think in the greater pantheon, there's certainly way worse. I still think Howard the Duck is a worse film overall, but this film is just an absolute train wreck. I don't know where the idea for it came from, but I mean, with He-Man, the property's right there. You have this guy, he's all muscular, he rides a tiger, he fights a skeleton man. There's a bunch bunch of monsters, he beats them up. That's the movie. You know, it writes itself. You do not need to bring in, you know, a lot of, you know, plot points. It's pretty much straightforward. But the thing is, this is before screenwriters figured out how kids work. It's where they figured out the Generation Y millennial mentality. So they're like, okay, well, we actually have to make this kind of make sense. We want people to be able to relate to it. So we're going to make it take place not in, you know, whatever it's called, Eternia or whatever. We're not actually going to have it take place in the cartoon. We're going to have it take place in our world. So we're going to have, you know, He-Man and all his buddies beating up Skeletor on Snake Mountain. And then we're going to throw in, like, this weird, like, Deus Ex Machina. It's like key that you play like a synthesizer and use that to jump between worlds. So we're going to introduce that, and we're going to bring He-Man and all his friends over to the real world. And who's in the movie? Well, none other than Courtney Cox, you know, from Fringe. She's the main protagonist, and her parents just died. And her boyfriend's like a really crappy musician, and she works at like a hot dog stand. Well, you know, the plot pretty much writes itself from there. You know what's going to happen. He-Man and his buddies. And his buddies are people that are not in the cartoon, to the best of my recollection. I don't remember there being, like, a really gross-looking gnome who eats chicken being in the cartoon. I definitely don't remember, like, a dude wearing a G.I. Joe helmet with a laser gun. I don't remember that guy being in the show. And there's a couple of monsters that show up a little bit later on, like when Skeletor sends them after them. I can't remember if they're in the show or not. They look pretty generic. I mean, the special effects are crappy, but they're like the good kind of crappy from the 80s, where, you know, they kind of put some effort into it, but not a whole lot. I mean, you're not seeing Tom Savini stuff. It's not Rick Baker. But, I mean, you know, it's decent enough. I mean, you know, I guess for 4, it might give you a nightmare or something. So, anyway, they show up and they're chasing around He-Man and Dolph Lundgren. God help him. This guy can't act his way out of a paper bag. I mean, he's trying to put on an accent, but, you know, Dolph Lundgren, he's from, like, is he from Russia? I'm not sure if he's actually from Russia. But you know what? In the 1980s, everything that wasn't, like, England back then was the USSR, as far as I'm concerned. So I'll just say he was a Russian. He just can't act. I mean, he has this really weird accent where, I mean, it's not Russian. It's not American. It's not like ye olde King's English. It's just really awkward and iffy. Really no clue what he's trying to do. And you have a hard time kind of like, you know, making out what he's saying most of the time. But, you know, you can kind of figure it out what's going to happen. Skeletor gets the weapon back. There's a part where, like, the evil chick who looks really hot, by the way. I don't know if she's in the show or not, but this one chick, like, Skeletor's, like, second in command. She's fine. She's, like, 1980s fine. Like, which is weird because this time when you go back and watch 80s movies, the women in it, like, they're like all hot, just look ridiculous. They have, like, 80-foot tall hairdos, and their makeup's, like, all just, like, ostentatious and gaudy, and they have shoulder pads. No. Skeletor's woman, this one, she's pretty hot. I mean, she's rocking, like, the really pretty goth look. So, I'm all about that. Assumingly, she, like, pretends to be Courtney Cox's dead mom. She can steal, like, the weapon, the cosmic key, or whatever it's called. And, of course, it sets up the big showdown where, you know, He-Man and his comrades all get transported back to Snake Mountain, and there's that big finale against Skeletor. And the thing is, Frank Langella, whatever, he's the best thing about this movie because he brings such an air of, like, commitment to it. I mean, it's one of those movies where it would be so easy for him to just not care and just phone it in. But he just embraces it. He knows he's in a dumb movie, and he just takes it for all it's worth, and he's great. And I actually like the makeup because, like, originally, you know, they were going to make him wear like a mask, but they decided not to go with a mask. They just kind of like painted his face so it looked like a skeleton. And I mean, it looks way better. I mean, it looks pretty much, you know, cooler than any mask that could have been made using technology at the time. And it's very, you know, unique looking. So that's definitely the best thing about the movie. So yeah, overall, it's just really, I don't know, it's so bland. You know, you had such an easy premise to run with, and you completely just tanked it. And, you instead of making it, like the cartoon, you just made it into like Beastmaster 2, where you try to make it relatable. It's like, yeah, if we bring in teenagers, the kids will be able to, grasp it better. Because when I watch He-Man, that's what I want, is like young adult relationships. No, I don't. I want to see He-Man swinging a sword. I want to see She-Ra and Cheetara. Well, Cheetara's not He-Man, but whatever. I want to see them like fighting like Voltron. I want cockamamie. I want absurd. I want ridiculous. I want just stupid. And He-Man and Masters of the Universe, the film, end of the day, it's the wrong kind of stupid. It's not like fanboy, I'm giving you what you want, stupid. It's just, I'm a screenwriter. I'm trying to make this something more than it actually is. I'm trying too hard. I have no idea what the property is I'm working with. I'm just going to throw all this crap at the wall, maybe something will stick, and nothing does. So anyway, that's Masters of the Universe. That's the He-Man movie. With all this 80s nostalgia, you got the reboot of Ghostbusters coming out. Like, is there like a reboot of Gremlins coming out too as well? So, you got all these movies coming back. It's only a matter of time. Somebody's going to say, you know what? They're making so much money off Marvel and DC and Ghostbusters and all this other stuff. And Jim and the Holograms and Care Bears and, Teddy Ruxpin, whatever else they have coming out. You know what? Let's bring back He-Man. Let's get all these people playing them, and let's get Channing Tatum, give him the sword. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? It's probably going to be better than this, but still, I'm just glad to know it's there. To know that you have that really crappy, horrible, misguided attempts at making youth culture and juvenile pop entertainment something more than it actually is. The fact of the matter is, it's just dumb and cloying, and this film, especially, is a perfect example of what happens when you try to treat really dumb, juvenile, mediocre, mindless entertainment as anything more than it actually is. You wind up with just a colossal disappointment. That's the 80s in a nutshell, though, really.